Great stuff. Okay, the recording has started, colleagues. I see a couple of people are joining as we proceed. For the interest of Iskati, the time, what we'll do is just proceed, and then technical support will definitely be able to abantu mabangena, they will accept them. And if you, for example, you drop off and you drop in again, don't worry. Um, Someone is there managing the administration of this session. So thank you very much once again for joining. Let me proceed to share the screen so that we can discuss today's agenda. But primarily, I would like to say that in the last 7 weeks, from the point when we started, 20 Zagamash, we've made some significant progress. The way progress is that we've really given life and personified the sprint part of the sprint accelerator, because it usually takes abantu a long time to get to the point where you are in your entrepreneurship journey. And I think for that, as you are building, as you are looking for opportunities, as you are learning, you need to obviously, most importantly, pat yourself on the back, because not many people have committed, and you guys have committed for 10 weeks straight to build an actual business that will create opportunities for yourself and hopefully create employment. Because as you know, our country is facing a very big unemployment challenge, and it's a challenge that only an entrepreneur is going to solve. Unfortunately, government doesn't create employment. It creates an environment for us as entrepreneurs, or for you as entrepreneurs, to actually succeed and build something that's tangible. Now, obviously, since I would say week 2, because week 2 was when we started with the actual workshops. Whereas the 20th, we had the launch, but we obviously did speak about some of the critical things that we're looking to do on this program. You've done the business conceptualization. You've moved from business conceptualization to brand development. Now, you've completed the formalization part of the business, which is very important, especially if you want to build something that's sustainable, that can also outlive you, beyond. So now, after all of the 7 weeks, on this journey, this session is just, I would say, a cherry on top of the cake that you've already built. Because once you've built and formalized your business, the next most important thing is to go and find people that will buy into what you are offering, right? That could be products that you are looking to sell. That could be a service that you are looking to offer. Now, in our ecosystem, we have different types of innovators that are in the catering and the food space, innovators that are coming up with innovative, brilliant ideas for the entertainment industry, innovators that are in construction, abanye bafuna ukwenza upholstery, some are in transportation. But the most important thing is, how do you let people know about your business in the current day and age? We are in 2025. We all on this call must have a social media account, whether it's Facebook, it could be TikTok, it could be X, formerly known as Twitter, it could be even LinkedIn. And we did a LinkedIn session 2 weeks ago, where Mamelo went through the step-by-step process of how to get the most out of LinkedIn, right? But the biggest challenge that in our line of work that we've seen with entrepreneurs is that they don't know how to actually have a strategy that can enable them to make it the most out of social media. Now, this session, we've designed this session so that it can really give you practical tools. Or when you now say, I have my logo, I have my formal business, now I need to create my social media pages. Now I need to obviously link my social media pages to that website that I created based on what I learned last week in the Digitize Your Business workshop. You can create a laptop using you can create a website using AI. You can create it using basic creative and design tools such as Canva. So those are the things that you start considering, is that yes, you may be using WhatsApp for business, which is one channel out of many channels that you can use. How do you go about building a strategy that you can use to make sure that you are marketing on search engines? This includes pay-per-click advertising, search engine optimization. So that's on the one side. Then we have the social media ecosystem. How do you also make the most out of those platforms? So the purpose of this is uzothatha all of the things that you've learned, and now you need to create those social media channels so that you are able to go and communicate to your target audience or your target market to say, I am Innovator X, and my specialty is we provide water purification services eLikwa. And we come to you, we deliver, but how are you going to communicate that on social media? Which channel are you going to use? We often make the mistake to think that sizosebenzisa wonke ama-social media platform. I'm going to be on all of them. Whereas you may find that for water purification content, maybe TikTok is the best platform that you need to be on, and not necessarily X, formerly known as Twitter, right? So that is the intention of this workshop today. This is just the agenda of what we're going to be going through this morning. We are obviously busy with the introduction, which will obviously end at 20 past, and then at 20 past 10, we'll then start our session for social media marketing. Then at 11 until 11, which is over a short break, just a refreshment break, so you can maybe go grab some tea or some coffee, or if you smoke, you can go have a smoke break during this time, and you can pretty much just gather yourself and absorb all of the information that we would have presented to you today, right? So that will then be followed up by another session that focuses on digital marketing, but digital marketing from the lens of search engine marketing, and we'll unpack that a bit further when we are doing that session. And then the session will end officially at 12. But we've also added 30 minutes extra for today's session. The reason for this is because a lot of the innovators have been receiving communication with regards to beneficial ownership submissions, right? So I want to quickly go through that process and guide the innovators that are looking to submit that information on how to best do this. All these administrative things that you need to do for your business are very important. It's very important that you as an entrepreneur, as an innovator, you know how the paperwork part of business is. Because really what business is, it lies in administration. It lies in the management of paperwork. That's why we speak about compliance, and the beneficial ownership is one type of compliance. We have annual returns that you need to on a yearly basis pay. We have SARS that you need to pay. If one of the compliance pillars is shaky or something is not right, you are going to definitely lose out on a lot of opportunities, especially when it comes to funding, especially when it comes to doing business with the government. And as you may remember, in one of the previous sessions, we mentioned that in South Africa, the biggest buyer of goods and services is the government. And we're not saying that all of the innovators should do business with the government, but where the opportunity presents itself, and as a young person who's looking to grow something sustainable that will go forward, we highly encourage your active participation in the government procurement sort of system, because the opportunities are there, but we don't have enough representation of youth, women, and persons with disabilities, right? So that is why these things that you've learned over the last couple of weeks are so, so important. And I'm quite happy that a number of innovators have reached out to get assistance with this, right? And then we'll close off our session at exactly 12:30. From 12:30 until 2, we should then be able to make sure that you absorb everything that you've learned, and then you go ahead and implement, because it's one thing to attend a workshop to learn something new, but it's another, and it's very important to go and implement, So now that you're going to be learning how to do social media and digital marketing, you need to be able to go and create those social media accounts for your business so that you can implement these strategies that we're going to be focusing on today. All right, moving right along. Let's kickstart our session, which is social media marketing basics. And before I kickstart officially, I would like to say that I'm sure that as I'm an innovator, you've noticed that over the last couple of weeks, a lot of the things that you've been learning, from brand development to formalizing a business to developing websites to now doing social media, these are skills, right? So if someone says, hey, I need assistance with registering a company, through the skills that you've learned in the Sprint Accelerator at the Sakile Youth Empowerment Center, you now are able to create income for yourself, right? So you can do that while you are still ideating, because you may think that your first business concept is really the one where you're going to get success. And business is all about failure, right? And I know that we often don't have a good relationship with failure, whereas failure is the greatest teacher, right? So if you fail, you learn more than when you would have won. So while you are still figuring out to Uzoya Group in terms of your business, or you're going to have a side hustle, use these skills and go sell them. Go sell the service of assisting people with registering their companies. Charge them, because this is knowledge that you have actually gone out your way. We'll keep or you essentially took time out of your schedule. You spent money to travel to these sessions. You are joining these sessions with the intention of actually being able to acquire knowledge that is useful and practical, and that can ultimately assist you in building a business or building revenue streams or incomes, right? So go and use these skills in the market. And as you are doing that, you know that at least you have a backup, right? And all these skills you can also then use in your business. So the same applies with the social media marketing. Once you understand how to build a social media strategy, which we're going to be going through now, you will be able to do this for other small businesses, right? Other small businesses that are looking to use social media, existing businesses that have been trading and in the market for some time, abafuna ukusebenzisa social media, but they don't have a person who will be able to say, okay, there's Clear Water, one of the companies I know yaseligwa eyenza plumbing. Bese kunevati, for example, one of a black-owned brand, water brand, which I think is a very inspirational story. But I struggle to find some of the local businesses that are doing well on social media or even online. Because of that, there's a gap for you as the innovators to say, you know what, let me go and actually assist these businesses with these skills. But let's move right along. The first thing I would say when it comes to social media marketing basics, the most important element of this is that brand that you would have developed, right? It's one thing to have a registered company. Registering a company is step one, right? To some, they would even say it's step zero. The reason for that is because although you would have formalized your business, what keeps a business running is the acquisition of customers, is the retention of customers. So, for example, you are running a catering business, right? You are still starting out, but you now got that opportunity during Easter time from that church, right? The way that you deliver the service is what either is going to enable you to retain the customer or even acquire new customers who would have had a great experience based on your level of cooking in terms of preparation, all right? So you may also have customers that are buying clothes from you. But if I buy something from you and I have an issue with the quality, you know, that ultimately will affect your brand and ultimately your business and your bottom line. Bottom line being your profits, your finances, because that's what keeps a business running. Now, all of these things, especially in these early stages. But the reason why, when you get to social media, the most important thing you must always think about is the brand, right? Think back to the workshop your brand your biz that was facilitated by Mr. Senzeni Plaza of Infomedia, when he spoke about the development of your brand identity, your brand voice. So if you are posting content on your business's page and you know that your target audience are professional people, is there a need for you to use tsotsital, mhlambe mangabe uya poster, or the punctuation is not maybe proper, right? And the great thing now, we have artificial intelligence. So you can prompt Meta AI, you can prompt Gemini, you can prompt ChatGPT to say, clean up this content for me so that I'm able to post it on my professional social media platform. Same thing when you are engaging with customers on via email. Use these AI tools so that you are able to have a consistent brand identity and a brand voice throughout all of this. So when it comes to social media marketing, you need to understand that a brand's digital presence is centered around its digital real estate. So you may be asking yourself, what is digital real estate? Digital real estate, I'm going to say real estate, and it's property. It's a house, it could be commercial property, residential property. But the same thinking you can apply in the digital space. Because when you register a domain for your business, right? Let's use SAYEK as an example, www.sayek.org.za. And then on that address, the same way kune address la uhlala khona. Yabona. Mhlambe 1535 Zaza Street, Sakile, eChabavu, as an example, right? So your domain address is your digital part of your digital real estate. Your website is part of your digital real estate. Your social media accounts is part of your digital real estate. So this means that the same way you would take your house seriously to make sure that you clean ijaredi, imvula njengoba ina kakhulu manje ngesama, to make sure that you clean inside the house, to make sure that when visitors, abomakhelwane, family members, and any visitors or guests that you get that come and visit your house, they actually have a pleasurable experience. But the thinking needs to be the same when it comes to your digital platforms. It starts with your website. And if you don't have a website, your main digital real estate is going to be your social media accounts. All right. And once you understand that, you need to understand two very important principles when it comes to digital real estate. Is that your digital, you can either own or have owned digital real estate or earned digital real estate. Now, what is the difference? The difference is with owned digital platforms or / digital real estate. These are the ones that you can say that you as the entrepreneur or you as the business, you own that property, like a domain. If you reserve a domain for your business, all right, let's say it's www.stitchinghouse.co.za. Stitching House owns that domain that will have the website. So you own it. No one can say, I can't say, as in, I'm the owner of your domain. Or Mark Zuckerberg, who owns Facebook, can say, no, I am the owner of www.sayak.org.za. He can say that he is the owner of www.facebook.com because Meta, the company that he leads, owns that as property, right? The way that the ownership of domains is so important, right, is that companies even put the value of their domains on their balance sheet, right? Because if I then buy the www.facebook.com domain, I can go and sell it back to Facebook and say, I'm going to charge you guys to get this domain back. I'm going to charge you $1 million. Those things do happen, all right? That's why it's very important to understand that what you own and what you earn, right? Then when you come to earn, is that when it comes to platforms like social media is it's not a platform that you own. It's not a platform that you own. The reason why is that they give you space for you to create content, right? And I remember when we had the Brand Your Biz workshop, one of the points that I raised in the workshop when Mr. Senzeni was asking some questions was, in the case of influencers specifically, influencers make their money through the audiences that they've created on social media platforms. It could be Instagram, it could be TikTok, all right? And I asked one very important question. What happens when Facebook, TikTok, Instagram gets banned in your country or it stops existing? Those 200,000 followers that you have are gone because you don't own those people. You don't own the platform, all right? So you earned that audience through creation of the content that you create that attracted people to want to follow you. So that's where the earned platform comes about. Although you don't own the platform, and you own a platform with a channel or a profile within a platform, you earn the audience that you have, right? So it's very important. In some of the consultations that I've had with I'm an influencer, I would always advocate for them to have your own website or your own platform so that you can also build your own database of your audience, whether it's collecting the people that follow you, email addresses, or creating an online store. You find a lot of the when it comes to influencer marketing in South Africa, women are actually the most successful in that space, because women know how to sell products, especially when it comes to the beauty space, right? And they've figured out how to monetize their audiences, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Instagram. Those are the two platforms. And then obviously now it's TikTok, right? They are the leading, I would say, beneficiaries of the influencer marketing space. So this means that for guys and people within, for example, the LGBT community, there is a very big space in influencer marketing, as an example, that where brands, I know brands are looking, they're always looking for profiles of people that they can work with so that they can promote their products, right? So that is very important to understand these concepts of owned and earned, right? So although you're going to be building the social media profiles for your business, always in the back of your mind, think of, if they somehow ban and arrest Mark Zuckerberg, God forbid, right? And they shut down Facebook, don't be over reliant on it. Create your own platforms that you can own so that customers can always engage you directly, without a third party or a middleman, because social media platforms are a middleman, right? So once you understand those, you now fully understand that social media accounts are not just social media accounts, something that you can take lightly, especially when you are looking to build a business. You need to understand their strategic importance for growing and promoting and marketing your business to your prospects, to also tell the successful stories of your business, to also show other customers that you are real and you can be found, and people won't be scammed when they engage with you and your business. It's platforms that enable you to enhance your credibility. To you know what? I know that with this business, they always do great work for their catering customers, because they, after every successful catering project, they post about it, or they get testimonials from their customers, right? So it's very important to understand the context of your brand online in relation to digital real estate. So now you'll be asking yourself, okay, I hear you, but why does this matter? Why is it important? Why should I care when I'm thinking of social media? Because with social media, I post memes, I post funny videos, I post music, I post myself, my friends, my loved ones. I don't really see the point of doing all of this, especially as someone who's looking to build and succeed in the business space. My answer to you to answer that question is as follows: discoverability, access, customer engagements are the three things that you need to always understand that you can get from social media platforms. Remember that with social media, how social media platforms, whether it's TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, they make money off of us. So they sell us to brands that are looking to market and sell their products. That's why I'm on TikTok. Uzoscrolla leyo content bese kuveli ad. Uscrolle kayi-2 kayi-3 kuveli ad. Same with Facebook, same with Instagram, same with X. That's the business model of social media. It's free, quote unquote, but it's not really free, because they use our data to then match us with brands that are looking to sell products that we may or may not like, right? But in that ecosystem, you can be discovered by potential customers. You can be discovered by potential funders or investors. You can be discovered by potential collaborators or partners. Right? So discoverability and visibility are the main things that you can extract from social media. So even when you are thinking about the reason why you need to have social media accounts for your business, you need to understand that through social media, because you know that there is an audience, you will be discoverable. Then the other thing is, one of the main things that entrepreneurs, and you'll see as you grow in your entrepreneurial journey, is they always speak about two words: market access. We want market access. We want access to markets, right? Which means that they want access to customers that they can sell to. So social media enables you to get access to people that you can sell to, people that you can collaborate with, people that you can work with. So already there's an existing market that you can access through using social media strategically for e-business yakho. Right? Once you've covered discoverability and access, and strategically so, you will then understand that now you would have identified that audience that you are looking to speak to. And because these platforms are designed to enable us to socialize as people, they will enable you to engage with the customers. Customers can DM you, send you direct messages. Customers can comment on your posts. Customers can reach out to you because you would have linked your WhatsApp for Business to your Facebook profile, as an example. All right? So engaging with customers. If I send you a message and say, you know what, I need you to come fix my gate, I could reach out to your Facebook page. I send you a DM. You take 2 days to respond. That already means that your customer engagement is not as strong as it should be. Right? So that's where things like automation also comes in. On Facebook specifically, uyakwazi to set up an automated response. Now, WhatsApp, you can set up automated away messages, especially WhatsApp business. WhatsApp normally, it doesn't give you that feature. WhatsApp for business enables you to set up automated response. So that when you're not on your phone, because you would be selling, you would be cooking if you are in catering, you would be welding if you are welding. But when a customer reaches out to you, they have to get prompt responses. So these are the three things, Mina, as I would say, you need to focus on: discoverability, access, customer engagement. So these three things are actively happening on digital channels. And if you, as the entrepreneur, approach them well, you will be able to then see these things. I just noticed now the screen is not shared, colleagues. Let me just do this. Let's stop sharing. All right. Apologies for that, colleagues. I think it just disconnected, right? But as I was saying, discoverability, access, and customer engagements are very, 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 very important. So we need to really be of the understanding of why you use Llama platform, right? And if you use them correctly, you can unlock new opportunities to increase market share in your chosen industry, right? Let me just go back to the previous slide because I suspect that Anisbonanga. This is what it is, where we spoke about the owned and the earned digital social media platforms, right? But you will have access to this presentation as well, all right? So now that you understand discoverability, access, and customer engagements, what does it mean, and how can you make it practical for yourself to develop a business strategy, or a business strategy for your social media usage approach, right? So at the top, we view discoverability, access, and customer engagement as pillars, right? Those foundational pillars that you are going to be using to make sure that it informs the way ozabusebenzisa social media ngakhona, right? So the questions that you need to ask yourself is, how will people discover my business on social media? Where will they discover me if I'm on social media? How will they discover me if I'm on social media? Then the other one is, why must they find me on that specific social media platform? All right. So here on the screen, you will see a framework that I personally use when developing social media strategies for brands, all right, and businesses. The first questions that I ask myself under discoverability is what I just mentioned now, the channels of discovery. Will I be using social media to make sure that my chosen customers find me so that I'm able to sell my products and services? Or will I be using search or search engines? And when we're speaking about search engines, I either need to have Google My Business if I don't have a website, or have a website, because without a website, I won't be able to find you on search unless you have social media accounts. So you will be able to leverage the search engine optimization of the existing platforms, right? So Facebook, if I search your business's name and you don't have a website, but you have social media accounts, the first few results will most likely be your Facebook page or your Instagram page or your LinkedIn page or your TikTok page. The reason for that is because those domains already have a high search appearance ranking, right? Or search appearance position. In SEO terms, it's called SERP. So that is one channel of discovery. When you go on Google or Bing or Yahoo, you'll be able to then search. So when people find you there, that means they would have discovered you through that search engine, whether it's Google or any other platform that you use to search for information, right? Once you've identified those channels of discovery, the next step is you need to now figure out what platforms within those channels of discovery will I be using to make sure that I'm a customer will find me on this platform or on social media or online, right? So platforms of discovery, you then say, okay, for my business, I know that my customers are going to definitely be on Facebook, are definitely going to be on Instagram, and are definitely going to be on TikTok. You make that decision by understanding the target market or your audience to say, me now I'm a customer, I'm going to find them on these platforms. Then under platforms of discovery, you put in that specific platform to say they are on Facebook, they are on WhatsApp, they are on Instagram, they are on TikTok, they are on LinkedIn. Remember, not all channels will work for your business, right? Although TikTok may be popular and trending, it may not necessarily work for your business, depending on the type of business that you are in. But LinkedIn can work. So that then becomes your platform of discovery, right? So those two, channel and platform, very, very, very important colleagues. Innovators, if there's anything where you need to do most of the thinking in terms of how you use social media, those are the two aspects of building a strategy will come into place, right? So when we move ahead, we look at affiliates, right? What are affiliates? I spoke about influencers earlier on. So if I run a car wash, ngiyazi Standerton sengikhohle igama lakhona le car wash, but mawungena elokishini usuka ngase Shell garage ngase Stanwest. There's a very big car wash, and over the years that car wash has been there, but you also get to see the growth. Man, you see nama infrastructure, everything, right? If I say, you know what, I like this business, and I have 15,000 followers on my Instagram account, right? So how can I partner or be an affiliate for this business? As an influencer, I can approach that business and say, you know what, I can promote your car wash to my audience. And for every customer that you get, I get maybe 5% of the sale. And if I can prove that these people have come through me, I get a portion of the sales that you get. You sign a contract with that person, an influencer contract, and then you start going to business. So the influencer also is a platform or is a channel or is a means of discovery. Because if that I want to make sure that every time they come to Standerton, the place where they must wash their car is that car wash. I'll market there. So influencers become your affiliates of discovery. Another thing can be you sell sanitary pads that are organic as an entrepreneur, right? And you know that there are many schools, high schools, Esakile, for example, or Standerton in general. You can foster strategic partnerships with schools, because the schools may then say, you know what, for the underprivileged learners in our schools who can't afford sanitary products, the SGB of the school is willing to sponsor and make sure that they routinely run sanitary health drives at the school. So it's simple. You then go school by school, Janrel, Chanrela, Tobelane, Tutotebe, you go to Kulasakile, Kunjiliwe, War School, Stanwest, you go and actually have those strategic partnerships with those schools and say, I have a product, I want to make sure that all the learners can have access to sanitary dignity. And I'm not going to charge you your normal rate because I'm doing this for a good cause, but it will be discounted maybe by 15%. All right? That becomes a strategic partnership. But also when you do that, it makes it easy for you to be discovered, right? Through these schools, all right? You can also do it with other brands on social media, for example. Doing co-branding. Other people can find you through another business, right? I'm going to go back to the car wash example. You may be selling a cleaning product, right? A shampoo, a carpet cleaner, and all of those things. Those are the products that a car wash will ultimately maybe need. right? You approach that very same car wash that I'm speaking about, and then you say, you know what, mina now I'm a product, I'll sell them to you at this rate. All right. And every time you post, always make sure, Guti, I will post your car wash and you can post like a snapshot of a cleaned car, and next to it, it could be your brand as the car wash and maybe my product next to the car. That becomes a strategic partnership, because that's what also makes it easier for you to do the work that you need to do as a business, right? Then you have brand ambassadors, right? So if your business has grown, or even if it's in the early stages, you are able to have people that support your vision, right? They say, you know what, Yabona Paul, I really, really, really like this work that he's doing with Club Legacy. And I'm gonna rally behind him. I support him, I understand his vision. That person becomes a brand ambassador. I become Paul's brand ambassador. Paul wenza ama-t-shirt ngithi Paul ngicela unginike one ngizosho ukuthi mangiya kuma-conference I'm going to be wearing your brand. When people are taking pictures, when the media is taking pictures, and now that picture is going to be posted on the local newspaper, when people see me there, they're seeing me wearing a branded Club Legacy t-shirt. I am the brand ambassador for Paul's vision, because I understand and I bought into his vision. I believe in it. I believe in him. Yeah, but so those are also platforms of discovery. When someone sees me wearing Leo t-shirt, Leo Club Legacy, they want to ask me questions. Hey, I like that logo. What is this Club Legacy thing? Then I'm able to then tell them. Even if I post on my social media platform, my LinkedIn, people will see me wearing Club Legacy and they will say, you know what, we're interested on this. And then I tag the page of Club Legacy. Then people go that I become a platform or an affiliate of Discovery, right? So that's discovery side. Once you figure that out, you will be able to go ahead and do what you need to do, all right? Then we go to the most important part, according to me, and why I always stress when it comes to entrepreneurs really taking this very serious, is understanding the value of social media. Social media is not just for entertainment. Social media, if it's done right, can be a catalytic avenue for you to grow your business. I can imagine you now know how to use Canva. So there's no excuse to not have visuals that look good for your brand. So you use these tools to design your menu if you are in catering, to design the flyers for your cleaning products. I'm going to sakala, and you want to make sure that you have good quality stuff. So that's why it's very important to understand how you can build a strategy under access. Then we look at channels of access. Will people find on and access your products or services or your brand on your website? Will you have an online store if you are selling products? Will you use WhatsApp for Business and use their catalog functionality if you are selling products or even a service? And if you are in the tech space or things like that, will you be using the metaverse, right? Where people need to wear VR goggles to access maybe whatever you are looking to sell, right? So channels of access are very important. It's almost similar to channels of discovery. It can be the same. You can say, you know what, social media, website, e-commerce. Then you move on. Similarly, how will people access my product online? If I make tailored and custom clothing, it's going to be very difficult for me unless I have a specific range that I'm going to mass produce and say, finally, my course, they can make you custom clothing for you with that pattern and everything. But you see that for scale, it becomes a bit challenging because you need to meet the individual needs of each customer. Although they can, but they understand that they need to make a fashion line that they can sell at scale and all over the world. So they will make those pieces and then mass produce them. Then bathengise lawo piece la, right? So it then becomes easier. If I said the way I'm a customer will access me is through e-commerce, then that means that I'm going to then do what? Create an online store. So noma standard, I'll be able to still buy this product. Standard. But I can go on there or the website, I can access my Xhosa through digital means. And I can buy the product without even meeting the any of the staff of the shops. Same Galaxy Boy. If I want to buy something in Galaxy Boy, do I need to drive all the way to Bloemfontein or to Nyothenga i-t-shirt because I know they have shops there? Or Nyembombela, or Joburg, or Pretoria, where the brand is from. Is that really the need or what I need to do? Not necessarily, especially when I understand that these customers can access me through online store platforms, right? They can also access me and engage with me through social media. So you can see that platforms of discovery and platforms of access are almost the same. Not 100% the same, but almost the same. Then you have affiliates of access. So when your brand is doing good work or when your business is doing great work, what can we say? What can we say when your business is doing good work in the community or in the business environment? That's a good story to tell. So local media will start writing about you. In the context of Ilikwa, Sinabo Standard Advertiser, we have Standard Chronicle. They can also then write a story about the work that you are doing. They become an affiliate of Access. Digital media, blogs. If someone writes a blog about entrepreneurship in Mpumalanga, and they somehow write about the work that you are doing as an entrepreneur, or as a 100% woman-owned business that's created employment and is growing and being sustainable, how can they actually go about doing that? That understands that the necessities of how your business functions. Those people become your affiliates of Access. All right. So Zabu, you would have figured this out and you would have cracked this. All right. Then lastly, it's almost self-explanatory and very similar to the last two: customer engagements. So what channels will I be using to engage my customers? Will they be sending me emails once they've seen my post? Will they be calling you to engage you? Or will they be sending you direct messaging? I'm a DM so that they can virtually pricing. I know some businesses on social media and people don't like this. They have the thing with Timofuni price, but DM for pricing. And people don't like that, right? They don't like you having to tell them to say, DM me for pricing, because they feel like when we are cared, depending on what the customer ubani or ganjan, the price will obviously depend on that. But you need to clearly distinguish if people are going to see you on social media and they now want to talk to you because they want to get your service or your product. Will you direct them to WhatsApp where you will be able to chat with them? Will you prompt them? Or the call to action be can you call me, or can you send me an email so that we can take this offline? You need to understand how you're going to be ideally engaging with your customers. And this is specific to social media, right? If I'm running a food business and people want to order and I can deliver, should they see my post on Facebook and can they order on Facebook? Or will they be told, which hasn't, just click on this WhatsApp number, send us a message of the menu item that you want, we'll prepare it, and then you'll send us the address. And then we charge you, you pay. Simple. Right? Or will you have an app where you will move people from social media and then they will be able with okay, this is how I'm going to get my service or product from this business. So that is the channels of customer engagement. Then we have platforms, very similar to the other ones. Affiliates, very similar to the other ones, but they can differ depending on what each pillar requires of you as the business, or you require from your customers. But it makes you think a bit more intentionally about your business. Right? So that's why I'm saying that you need to have a look at how you think about your business and be intentional. Right. So we have this. What does it mean? Sorry about that, colleagues. Let me just do this. When you are building your strategy, I think we've spoken about discoverability, access, customer engagements. But then we also have in the marketing, certain marketing objectives, such as awareness, consideration, conversions. Awareness is making people aware of who you are and what the business is. Consideration is making people consider you, because in your business, there's going to be another person who also washes sneakers. There's going to be another person who also does social media marketing. There's going to be another person who also does the selling of clothes. As overseas, or as a small street, as things like. There's going to be other people that compete. And the more competition there is in a particular industry, the better. Because it makes you innovate. It makes that industry innovate, ripe for innovation. Because if we won, you won't even see the need to improve, because no one is putting pressure on you from a pricing perspective, from an offering perspective. So you consider what would make people consider you as the business that they must go and support. And then conversion is how many of those people that you've moved from awareness to consideration ultimately converted it into a sale. How many bought into your product or your service? Right? So these three pillars, you can understand them from this perspective. Discoverability will enable you to get awareness. Access will enable you to get people to consider you. Customer engagements will lead you to conversion. So when you are building your marketing strategy, you think of it like this. You think, how will I make people aware of me so that they can discover me? How will I make people consider me so that it's easier for them to access me? And once they've accessed me, how will they engage with me so that I'm able to convert them into an actual paying client? Because obviously, the oil business or the petrol business, you need to make sure on a daily or weekly or bi-weekly or monthly basis you are getting customers. Without customers, there's no business. It's just an idea, right? So that's very, very important, right? When you go through this presentation, when you upload it on Google Classroom, take this into consideration. It's exactly 11 manje. We can take our short break until 11:15 in accordance to our agenda for today, and then sizo kickstarter futhi ngo 11:15. So you are free to join, to jump off or stay on the line until then. But we have our short break for now, and then we'll kick back off at 11:15. Thanks, colleagues. All right, innovators, we are back to continue with the session. I hope everybody is back, but if not, they'll join as we move along. Let me proceed to share my screen. All right. I hope that during the break you were able to absorb everything that we spoke about, because it's very important to you understand this requirement or what is required, right? So because that sets the foundation for something that's very, very, very crucial and important, which is um, sorry, I think someone someone is unmuted. I think who's saying you. Oh, thank you. As I was saying, colleagues, uh, the first section of our presentation in session one was very important to at least lay a foundation for you to fully understand the development of these strategies that you're going to be using for social media, right? Especially when I go back to this slide where we spoke about discoverability, access, customer engagements, awareness, consideration, and conversions. But obviously, this is just a correlation of how you must think when you are developing your strategy. It doesn't necessarily prescribe how you must actually communicate this in a strategic manner, right? So, how do you then take that, specifically this part? You've mapped out, Uguti, I'm going to use Facebook, I'm going to use these channels of access, I'm going to have these affiliates of customer engagement. But how do we make sense of it in a strategic manner, right? So we have this table that you can use at any time. Or you can use the template that we're going to share with you, right? You can see that this table essentially has two sections, social and digital. On the social side, it speaks everything about social media. What do you need to communicate and building your social media approach and your strategy? At the top, you see the part that says strategic rationale. So the strategic rationale is you saying the reason why you're going to be using social media or those specific channels. So you need to make sure that you introduce, you speak about the intention, the insight, and the approach that you're going to be taking for your social media marketing efforts. An example would be in a case where we are dealing with a food business, right? Our strategic rationale is to make sure that we use social media marketing to showcase our expertise, to showcase our menu, to showcase our customers enjoying the food that that we prepare and we sell, right? Through ensuring that there's high quality content that is promotional, that is sales driven, and that is ensures that we are tapping into the awareness element, right? So I'll repeat that again. As a catering company, our intention to use social media marketing is to ensure that we foster real engagements with our customers. We're going to showcase our food, and we're going to also showcase our customers enjoying our food. The reason why it's important for customers to show real people that are enjoying the food is because you need to be able to ensure that abantu bayakwazi ukubona ukuthi no, there is actually value in actual real people are finding value in this food to a point where they are eating it because it's something you ingest, and it. So it's very important to have that, right? So that's on the one side. On the other side, we have the channel strategy. So here, you've discovered or you've identified that you're going to use Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok as your channels of discoverability. Those are three different channels, all right? Facebook doesn't work the same way as Instagram. Like, for example, with Instagram, when you are posting on Instagram, you can't post a link on the caption side because it's not clickable. On Instagram, the only place where links are clickable is on the top in your bio section. Unlike Facebook, because now post on Facebook, you'll be able to then put your caption and then put your link, and it's clickable. So a customer will be able to go to your page, click on your link, and they will be taken to your website, for example. Whereas on Instagram, you can't do that on post level. You have to direct people to go click in the link in your bio. So when you see people bafaka link on an Instagram caption, you can see that they don't understand how that platform works. All right? Because you can't click. You try and copy the link, it's very difficult to copy it so that you can go paste it. So do you see that you've already now given your potential customer work? So I'm gonna copy that link and go paste it on Google Chrome or Safari, and then they are able to see what you are looking to see them, show them. All right. So it's very important to understand that each channel you identify that on Facebook, we're going to be driving brand awareness. On Instagram, we're going to be selling, making people consider us because we're going to be showing pictures of the food, pictures of people that are enjoying the food, as an example. And on TikTok, we're going to make sure that we entertain. We make sure that we are entertaining our prospects because we understand the nature of the platform is entertainment, or educating our customers about food, the different types of traditional dishes that you can find in South Africa that you as a catering business sell, for example. So you can go and TikTok, make short clips of you explaining a recipe. You know, that content does very well. Yes, you have that stew, but what ingredients did you use, right? So that then also pushes you to start training and making people aware of what you put in as ingredients to make the dish that people love so much. And that also then opens up an opportunity for you to go train other aspirant food entrepreneurs, because you are practically doing training in terms of how to cook and selling food, right? So each channel, you need to be specific with Zoboenza, because it's very difficult to say the same thing you're going to be doing on TikTok, you're going to be doing on LinkedIn. It's very difficult because those platforms don't work the same. The audiences are not the same. Once again, you need to be intentional when it comes to this part, right? That's the channel strategy. Right. Then creative, and then we have the other one, creative / ad format. What type of posts are you going to be posting on social media? Are you going to be posting stories? Are you going to be doing reels on Facebook or Instagram? Are you going to just post pictures and not post videos? So here you need to also say the type of content. Are you going to do reels, stories, GIFs, videos, carousels, right? Or static images. You need to once again say, this is the content that I know will work on TikTok for my business. I can't post pictures, although it's possible to post pictures on TikTok, but the content that moves is videos. All right. So on TikTok, we're going to make sure that we're creating videos and we're editing them like this. We're using Canva to maybe edit them to brand the video that we've posted, or we're using the in-app video editing that you find on TikTok and Instagram. All right. You've now decided the type of content that you are going to be posting on each channel. Now you need to start thinking in campaigns. All right. It's going to be winter now. I'm going to stick with the example of food, the food business. All right. With the food business, it's winter now. This is winter. All right. So what are the meals that people are going to be looking to prioritize, or they're going to crave more during this season? Is it more soup-based meals? Is it anything that is hearty and very warm? Right? So am I going to introduce morning offerings? Scones, buns, donuts with a coffee or tea for abantu abasebenzayo abafuna ukuthi mabandlula ngakuwe bathenge baye emsebenzini. So that means that as the food business, you now need to start developing an actual approach of a winter campaign to say, during winter, siyazi ukuthi ama-plate mhlawumbe awahambi the way ekumele ahambe ngakhona. But we're going to start a campaign ukuthi, for every plate you buy, you're going to get a complimentary coffee, as an example, because we know that it's cold. And it doesn't really break the bank if you introduce something complimentary, so that people see more value to come and buy that type of food, or that food that you know is your highest seller, but because of the season, it's low. There's some complimentary thing. Or you can say, if you buy from us 3 times a week, you can get a free plate on the Thursday. If you buy from Wednesday 3 times a week, your 4th plate is free. Once again, it doesn't necessarily break the bank that much. You need to obviously do the numbers and the maths behind those types of incentives. But you build a campaign. That campaign has its own visuals. As you can see, when it comes to this Sprint Accelerator program, whether you get the post of the flyer of the training, same creative. The presentation that I'm presenting now, same creative. If you go on social media, it's the same. Why is that? It's because it's intentional. It's a campaign, a Sprint Accelerator campaign. So the visuals need to speak to that campaign. If you're going to do a campaign about your winter specials of your food, design it on these tools and have a consistent visual identity for your campaign. Because whether you see a Spana online post on LinkedIn or on X or on WhatsApp in the group, consistent. When you attend the workshop, the actual presentation, the branding is all consistent. That's because it's part of the campaign, right? So you do the same thing to say, my offering, and I'm a campaigner seasonal. You can have campaigns that speak to for example, Valentine's Day, or in September, we're going to have Heritage Day. So as a food business, you can already say my campaign for the September month, because it's Heritage Month, we're just going to be promoting traditional foods. And you build a campaign for Heritage Month. Next month, we're going to have Youth Month. Same thing. Start thinking in campaign. So you develop a campaign message. If your campaign message is, if you can prove that you are a young person between the ages of 18 to 35, during Youth Month, you're going to get a 5% discount for every plate that you buy. So buyers, with your plate 50 Rand, I'm going to get 5% off. Maybe that 5% is like 5 Rand off. The plate saying was we told at 45 Rand. Or that campaign allows you to to have a value that your competitors don't have. So that becomes your campaign message. We are making access to our products easily accessible and affordable for young people because they are our biggest supporters, as an example. That's your campaign message. Then once again, you then have a campaign hashtag. My hashtags are very important because you search via hashtags sometimes, right? So if you go on social media and you search hashtag Sprint Accelerator, the post will come up. Or if you search Liqua goes digital, because our main thing is to make sure that young people in the Liqua local municipality can get access to digital skills. Young and old, it's not really limited to youth only, but in general, Liqua goes digital. Hashtag Liqua goes digital. Hashtag Mpumalanga entrepreneurs. So if it's your business, you can then also do something. Hashtag ukudla kwethu. If it's Heritage Month. So you also are intentional. You can hashtag, you can say hashtag Somashishini TT as an example, or taste and trends. Or hashtag Mpumalanga MP culinary experiences. But it needs to speak to that campaign that you are pushing. All right. So it's very important that we start thinking like this so that we can fully understand what is we are doing. So that when you are posting, you can post randomly, but at least you are guided by a framework, a strategic framework, so that at the end of the month or at the end of the year, you can then sit down and pull a report to say, social media brought X amount of customers because these hashtags were successful and this type of content, videos were more successful than us posting pictures. You will be able to get that insight because you are able to now develop this concept, strategic foundation concept of you marketing on social media. Right? So that's how you develop a social media strategic foundation. So it's very important that you look at that, right? Then we go to digital. So this is more the digital side, the digital marketing side. So digital marketing is obviously a broad thing, but we often separate digital marketing and social media marketing. Although on social media, you are also marketing digitally, but the dynamics are quite different because within digital marketing, we have search engine marketing, content marketing, email marketing, search engine marketing, right? So here, the same thinking of you identifying which channel. Are you going to be using a website? Maybe you're going to have your own blog. Are you going to be using your own email marketing channel? All right. So what are you going to be doing? You need to decide, which doesn't mean maybe my focus is just going to be content marketing and I'm going to create blogs about the food industry so that my customers can also learn more about how we source the food, all right? Where we buy our food. Is it organically grown, the veggies that we are using? Are there sustainable practices that are used with regards to the livestock that ultimately get slaughtered for us to get the meat that we cook for you as the customer? Because some customers are very conscious like that. They will ask, is this organic? Some, for religious purposes, they will ask, I don't eat this type of meat. I eat pork. Is it halal? Is it kosher? Right? For the Jews. Is it halal for Muslims? So those are things that you can start also in your content, also considering to say, although everyone needs to eat in a food business, or in general, humans need to eat badly so that they can survive and go forward. But not everyone is going to be our customer. If we are selling African traditional food, chances are we're going to have less Indian people, less white people, because that's not a culinary favorite of theirs. It's not something they are accustomed to, unless they want to explore something different. But you may find Indian, white people who are tourists that are not from here in South Africa, that want to experience African food. They want to experience something different. So that then becomes your customer. It's not the same people that we find in our country. Same race, but they come from a different continent where the food that you're going to be preparing is not found. So once again, it helps you be a bit more intentional in making those decisions, right? So that's how you develop that strategy. Once you've done this, you're going to go into the creative elements of each platform, right? What does this mean? You can see here we have a table: Facebook, Twitter/X, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube Shorts. What does this mean? What do these numbers mean? 1,200 by 900. Remember, I mentioned that each platform doesn't work the same. So the dimensions of the post that you're going to be posting is also not going to be the same. Instagram previously used to allow you to post square images. Now they've changed it to be somewhat vertical. All right. So when you are on Canva or you are on Photoshop, Canva being the easiest, you know that you want to design a creative post, and Canva allows you to choose the dimensions of the post. Instagram needs you to have 1080 by 1080 if it's a square image for horizontal posts that are on a timeline. Remember, there's a difference between a timeline and other platforms, as other sections of your profile on Instagram, for example. You don't necessarily post a square image on your stories. It needs to be a vertical image, right? And the vertical image dimensions are 1080 by 1920. Same happens on Facebook, right? So the new dimensions of the Instagram is 1080 by 1350. So when you are on Canva and designing your posts, keep in mind the different dimension requirements of each post so that you are able to create content that is tailored to this platform. That's why sometimes we tell you it's Tom the mouse scroll go Facebook or any platform, specifically Facebook and other platforms. There's one with that stretchy, like, because the dimensions are not necessarily tailored for that platform. Facebook will post it and showcase it, but it goes over a cutter off call. And the reason for that is because the technical elements of social media, which is this, are not considered. On Facebook, on the timeline, it's 1,200 by 900. So when you are designing your social media posts, these are the dimensions you need to keep in mind. Vertical is the same. You can post images on TikTok, but preferably they need to be vertical, right? LinkedIn also has now real videos that look like reels. Same, 1080 by 1920. Vertical videos, because that's how we consume content, based on how these platforms show this information, right? Then it's in TikTok, no YouTube Shorts. The same. It's definitely the same, you know? So that's why I'm saying that when it comes to this, it's very important to if there's anything from this presentation that you're going to make a note of, it has to be this, because this show will enable you to post content that is definitely tailored for that platform. Angeke kube nama poster cutter off or in like that, because it's designed with the platform in mind, because not every platform works the same. All right. And as we are about to obviously wrap up this session or this section of the presentation, there are two main things that I would like to highlight that we haven't highlighted in the previous slides. The other one, if you have a website, right, and the product name of your website is very long, and that means that the link that you now need to share is long, it makes the post not look great. So what you need to do is use what we call link shorteners. I'm sure you've seen it. Link, it's hourly.li slash whatever characters, or bit.li. So you can take an existing link from your website or any other platform and then go throw it in these link shortening tools, and then it gives a link a short that is clickable and becomes a bit more visually appealing for your post in general. So it's very, very important that you look at this and using link shorteners. On Google Classroom, we'll share some free link shorteners that you can use for your social media posts, right? Then the other one is leverage free design tools. We've really hammered the thing of using Canva. And when you are writing your social media posts, don't be afraid to use AI. Let AI be your copywriter so that you can get things like grammar, punctuation right. All right. So I need to say, as in South Africa, the main business language is English. It doesn't necessarily mean we are limited to speaking English when doing business, but generally that's how it is in the country, you know. So use these tools, they're free. Some are even in your WhatsApp, in your Facebook account. Make use of them. It'll make things easier. And then we have intentionality in terms of you planning your content. So it's going to be Youth Month next month. You can already within this month start developing the content that you're going to be posting next month, and making sure that the last week of the month you will be able to do what? You will be able to schedule it. Facebook and most of these tools allow you to schedule posts so that you don't have to go to Njalo or you have to post. You can schedule posts for the whole week and then as Pumela automatically. So use those automation tools that will make it easier for you to automate the process of your social media marketing. All right. So those are the three main things. The 2 points that I mentioned is using link shorteners, and most importantly, schedule and plan your content ahead of time. All right. So that was definitely the social media section of the presentation. We have 15 minutes before this session ends. And fortunately, most of these things we have covered in the previous slides. But here, I'm going to speak specifically about digital marketing from a perspective of search engine marketing. Right. As you can see here, it's SEM in digital marketing, right? So search engine marketing deals with search engines as it has in its title. Search engines, Google, Yahoo, Bing, you name it. There's marketing that happens on those platforms. So what is SEM? SEM involves using paid advertising to enhance your visibility within the results page of search engine platforms like Google, Bing, and others. Right? So organic/free is search engine optimization. But when you see that ad on Google, using Google Ads, for example, that's what we call PPC, pay-per-click advertising, where you are paying Google to prioritize and actually showcase your ad as the first three results. If you search shoes, Nike shoes, or Jordan shoes on Google, the first 3 to 4 results are going to be ads. Then the rest will be just organic. So that's what we refer to. PPC is those first 3 or 4 ads, and then SEO deals with the ranking of these other ones that people are not necessarily paying for. But you still need to have effort and optimize your website to ensure that you are able to be visible from an SEO perspective, right? So these ads typically displayed at the top and the bottom of the search results. So as you also scroll down, you'll see some ads. But between the top and the bottom, in the middle, is where SEO works. So it's very important to consider that, right? So what does it all mean? Why is SEM a valuable tool for you as an innovator and as a business owner who now has a formal business? Number one, it will enable you to connect with high intent customers. The one thing you must always know about search engines is that by the time umuntu yena search, they already are in the consideration phase of their journey as a user. So already they've thought about it, which as in, I want to buy this shoe, or I want to buy this catering equipment. Let me search for prices, or let me search for places where I can accord. So their intention to either find information that will enable them to make a decision or make a purchase is already online. So you already, even when you are building your communication assets for this, it's very important that you consider this, right? That you are dealing with high intent customers. So we are working with what here? Individuals using search engines are often actively looking for specific solutions, products, or information. SEM allows you to position your business directly in front of this engaged audience. And as I said, already you know that if someone is searching for something, they are considering either buying it now or buying it in future. So that intention is your advantage. So in normal positioner, you need to consider that, right? Then you have precise targeting capabilities. What does this mean? SEM platforms offer sophisticated targeting options, enabling you to reach specific demographics, geographic locations, interests, and exact keywords your ideal customers are using in their searches. So let me simplify this one. You are selling food, and that food could be kota or a spart if ubuye Pitori, or is Kanban if ubuye Val, right? So if you want to use SEM or PPC to market to customers who are looking for that type of food, the word kota is going to be the word that you must have as a keyword. And you need to already do the research of where are the people that are going to be looking to buy this type of food going to be located. So if I'm going to run Google Ads just for Standerton, I will target the areas where I know most likely my customers will be there. Right? So this means that you will do what? You will target mhlawumbe indawo semalokishini because yilapho amakota athengiswa khona or edrobheni, because there are people abaselokishini abasebenza edrobheni who want that type of food, or people that live in suburban areas that want that food but they can't find it at Cosmos Park, they can't find it at Flora Park, they can't find it at Merville. You need to do that strategic thinking. But you can target by interest. You can target by geographic positioning. That's one of the main things, right? Then the other one is rapid visibility and measurable outcomes. Because of your marketing and using digital, you will always know how many people you have reached. Unlike distributor a flyer, although you will know that you have 500 flyers that you've printed and you've given them out to 500 people, but you don't know if the first 5 people by totally, or the first 250 people by totally lama flyer they for example, punch them up, threw them away, and then the other 100 lost them. So selling 150, the 100 are now using it as just paper in the house, and then only 50 people actually came and bought from the 500 flyers. So it's difficult to tell because you can't track a flyer, but you can track an ad that you are running on Google Ads, right? So SEM delivers visibility, which speaks to the discoverability pillar that we spoke about. And it looks at the performance of your campaigns. Things like clicks, impressions, and conversions are trackable. You can track. So you'll be able to see what 1,000 that clicked on that ad that I have. And of the 1,000 people that clicked, 20% ultimately converted into sales, which means that I made 200 sales. And maybe you spent 1,000 Rand to advertise. And the 20% that converted bought a meal off of worth 100 Rand, right? So 100 times 200 is what? At 2,000 or 20,000, I think, right? So from that 1,000 that you used to market, you got 20%, you got 1,000 clicks, 20% of those clicks converted into sales, each sale worth 100 Rand. So 100 Rand times 200 means it's 20,000. And then you say 20,000 minus the 1,000 that you spent to run your ads. That means you made 19,000. And all it was, you built an SEM strategy. I don't want to make it seem like it's an easy thing because there's many components that come to be, but those things are possible. All right. So the other great thing is that you can control your messaging. So you can change, update, and do so many things in terms of how the messaging looks. So if you are one with that pink flyer is not working, and you ran ads where you have a pink flyer and a blue flyer. The blue flyer is performing well because of maybe the way you've designed it, and you are spending money on both. So you can already shift the budget and pause the pink ad and then shift the budget to the blue one. because that's the best performing. That's called A/B testing, all right? So SEM is something that you need to think of as strategically placing your message directly in front of your potential customers or the people that you want to know about you from a discoverability or a consideration perspective, all right? So these are people ekumele bazi ngebhizinisi yakho, to know what exactly you are doing. And then that's it in terms of our session. I think in terms of time, we have 5 minutes left. I'd like to just check from the innovators if you don't have any questions in these 5 minutes. Let's have some questions. You can also type your questions on the chat, and then we can then address some of these questions that you may have. Any questions, colleagues? Going once, going twice, going thrice. It seems like we are all in alignment with today's presentation. So now what you need to do is build those social media accounts. Build them so that you are able to then start implementing these principles for your business. And then, as you know, on the 22nd of May, we have our pitch competition. We spoke about it also last week, but we saw it fit to advertise this again to remind you that there's going to obviously be 5 prizes. Obviously, the prizes that you would ideally want to get are the first 3 prizes. First place, 5,000 Rand in cash. Second place, 3,000 Rand in cash. And then third place, 1,000 Rand in cash. And then number 4 and 5, but 500 each, all right? We will have judges from different organizations. One of the organizations is called Patella Systems. They have a very interesting business. They are in the financial technology space. They have point of sale machines. So I'm quite excited that we're going to have one of their representatives, Mr. Malungane, to come and judge the pitch. And they also will be doing sort of like a workshop on how to use point of sale machines and some of the software. So it's going to be quite exciting. And because we had Infomedia also judge, we're also going to have representatives from them. And then also some local business people also will be there, right? But this is the cash component, and then obviously there's other prizes that are attached to each prize, right? So I think we did speak about them last week. Here they are. So number 1, we'll be able to get obviously a website, online store fully developed, where the value of the website or the value of this work will be 25,000. So the value of the websites and stuff professionally developed will be 20,000. And then the actual cash will be 5, right? Then on the second place, the value of the brand basic web design will be 12,000, and then the cash will be 3,000. And then the other one is the last one, the total value is 10,000, and the cash component is 1,000, right? So yes, that is what we have. Looking forward to it. I think we're going to have some fun. It's going to be our last event. And mina into excited or cool is to really watch each and every innovator that has come through and committed and showed up to really build something successful, because I believe that everyone who's participated has it in them to develop something that is beyond Ilikwa, it's beyond Mpumalanga. Because I know sometimes we can think based on where we are, but the main thing is give it a shot, prepare, Next week's workshop will prepare you on how to build a pitch deck for your presentation for that final day, right? So let's make it happen. And then for the guys that are in the food business, we obviously also thought, you know, in the 10 weeks, we know there are catering innovators. Here's an opportunity. Instead of us and the SIAC team looking out at the community of people that are already developed, why don't we actually provide this opportunity to innovators that are already within the program to submit sort of like a proposal of them being able to go into this and actually cook, right? So that's why I'm saying that it's very important to see and have a look at this opportunity. So it would be great to have you guys, if you have a catering business, submit your quotation, submit your menu that you would propose for this event, right? And then let's see how we can empower an innovator that's participating in the program. And then that's it for today's session. I think we have covered everything that we needed to cover. Now I need to move on briefly to the beneficial ownership thing. We have about 20 minutes to go through this, but there is a guide that I've sourced from the CIPC website. Engfuna publisher so that you are able to do this yourself. But what I need to make sure that I make everyone understand is what the actual beneficial ownership is, right? It's a relatively new thing that the CIPC has introduced. And the reason for this is because South Africa, I think over the last 2 to 3 years, we had been grey listed, right? We had been grey listed, and being grey listed means that because there was a lot of money laundering challenges and issues in general in terms of corruption, one of the requirements from the Financial Action Task Force was that we need to, as a country, make sure that we identify who the ultimate owners of businesses are, you know, because there are people that front, for example, and they don't necessarily, the documents that are submitted are not a true reflection of who the owners are. So if beneficial ownership is really just a submission that the CIP requires for you to be able to prove that you are indeed maybe the only founder or the only director in your business, right? So it needs information about you, the amount of shareholding. So for example, I know most of the innovators, with the exception of maybe 2 companies, they are individual. So you obviously have 100% ownership of your business. It's not split into maybe 4 people who each have 25% as an example, right? So it's just a declaration of that information, where you are based, your information, so that CIPC can tie your ownership to the business, right? Because sometimes you may find that although people may be the directors of a company, but there are other hidden owners. So they're trying to prevent that so that they can detect money laundering, if there's any money laundering that happens, right? So this guide pretty much gives you a step-by-step process on how to do the beneficial ownership part, right? There are documents that I'll upload on Google Classroom that you will need to fill in to submit to CIPC. A lot of these documents can be confusing, and I realize that, you know, we may need to have a separate session when we have our final event to address this thing, right? But for now, because most of you guys are still new, still starting, it's not a big worry. But I want to make sure that while we are in this program or within this 10 weeks, you tick every single box and you learn this skill, right? But this one gives you a full view of what is needed, right? In terms of ukuthi submita ini, kanjani, nini. It gives you a detailed breakdown of this information and what is needed, right? If you follow this guide and you still struggle, raise your hand. We'll definitely have a separate workshop soon to make sure that we deal with this. But for this, for me, I always prefer face-to-face, especially if someone is not fully understanding this guide. The reason for that is because there's certain information that maybe you may need ukuthi explain but this guide gives you 100% all the information oyidingayo to do this, right? So that's why I'm saying that it's quite important that you give it a look. Shortly after this session, we'll upload it, and then you'll be able to have it have a look at it and how you can do this. But once again, one thing in Funui Stress is this administration is what will determine whether or not you are going to be successful in business, because you won't be able to get funding, you won't be able to get business tender, government tenders if your paperwork is not straight, you know. So it's always best, according to me, to also learn so that you don't have to pay a consultant all the time. Makumele uchinje something for your company. Makumele wenzeni. It's very important for you to learn it so that noma ngabe uyobrief omunye umuntu ukuthi akwenzele, at least you know how the process works so that angakushaya. That's why it was very important for us to make sure that with the registration of your companies, it must be in your own name, because we've dealt with so many cases of people that have registered companies for people, and then manje sofuna amaphepha akho loyo muntu loyo awusamtholi. So it's always good. Same thing with CSD. Same thing with this. Learn how to do it. It's very simple. So the noma uyonikeza umuntu loyo msebenzi, you know ukuthi yazi I've briefed this person and I know ukuthi this person will definitely do this for me. Because noma I know the process. You can negotiate the rate. Makathi umuntu charge 5,000 against beneficial ownership. You're like, this doesn't make sense because I can do this myself. You know, so you know that something is wrong. So have a read of this document and make sure that you fully understand it. If you have any questions, let us know so that we can see how we can address them, and then we will schedule time physically, one-on-one or a dedicated workshop on the 22nd of May. Sizo address this thing, and once you learn it once, that's what I believe. You learn something once, you'll be able to really handle it and be able to be independent when you are doing this work, right? So we'll share it, and then we'll make sure that we have everything that is ready for you guys. I think there's only a few innovators, or maybe one innovator, who still needs to complete their let me just stop presenting here. Right? Who still needs to make sure that they register the company. I think it's one innovator, Njabul. I think he's on the call. We will also sort that out during the duration of the end of this week and early next week, so that you are eligible to also participate in the pitch presentation. All right. So that's what I would like to say, colleagues, for a session here today. And Sanjay, thank you very much for joining today's session. And we really hope that you can take all these learnings and implement them for your business, implement them for your concept. There are so many opportunities that are available right now for entrepreneurs in the country. And I think it's high time that you guys tap into these opportunities, right? But I think for today, we are done. The recording will be shared on YouTube and also loaded on Google Classroom. And then, Jabulo, we will reach out to you possibly today with regards to the funding of your CIPC account, and then we'll steps. But thank you everyone for joining. Hlengiwe, Bongani, Rafilwe, Delsile, now in Jabulo, much appreciated for sticking it through. We are almost there, colleagues. 2 more weeks left, and we are almost done. And then I'm excited to see everyone succeed. Trust me, everyone from my interactions with every single innovator, you have all the right qualities. It's just most of the time in the shy is the information. So please do enjoy the rest of your day, and let's catch up next week and throughout the weeks and the days if unembuzo or othile ofuna ukuthi sukusize ngawo. But for today, thanks colleagues for joining. See you soon.